Okay, this is part 30. I'm working on this U.S. Army 1952 Dodge 3/4 ton 4x4 M37 cargo carrier, and bought some more stuff. Came from Big Mike's Motor Pool, and they're another place that has a lot of stuff for this M37. Well, I was missing a couple of lug nuts on the back, and luckily these are stamped left and right, so other than what's on there right now, they're not stamped with anything unless they're painted over or something. This side here is left-hand thread, so I don't know if the other side's right hand or left hand, so I had to buy 3 of each, but they're like $7.50 for 3 of them, so it's not that bad. So that's one thing I'm going to be doing there. And here's the other thing I bought. This is the 3-position switch that goes in there. Once everything is marked there. So that's fine and dandy. I mean, it looks all nice and everything, but there's only one little problem. This plug is straight, goes straight in, where the other one hooks in from the side. Well, you can't bend that cable and everything in there to fit this. You would have to basically redo all the cabling inside to the instrument cluster, everything. It would have to be redone to get this in there. So, luckily my brother Ron worked on the other old one and got it working. So that's what we'll be using in there. We'll put that in there already. So, sorry, drop there. So, anyhow, put that in. He also found some split sleeves to go around the wiring. Also, we used, I had some shrink wrap tubing along with a bunch of that, and some short pieces that would fit over some of the caps and everything else that went in there. So, anyway, that being said, the wiring for the headlights is all in. The switches all work. The only thing found out, we put it back in, that the dimmer switch decided not to work in the high beam position. It works fine in the low beam, but for some reason, I told Ron, I said, forget it, we're probably not going to drive this thing in the dark anyway, but just make sure I have some lights for it, and all for the brake lights and all that sort of stuff. Blackout lights and all this. So all that's here. So anyway, I'll show you what's going on out there, and then we'll test out the lights, and I'll show you what that looks like. And of course, the fuel pump's already in and working, so that's not a problem. Okay, those what you see there, those are the marker lights. Let's see, hold on. Step out of the way here. Yeah, so I've got that switch on. Now the next one up should be the headlights. So we'll turn the headlights on next. Yes, indeed. Fun places to start here. Okay, there's the headlights, and there are also blackout lights and everything else on this. And of course the fuel pump is hooked to the starter. You can hear that turned on. So pretty much everything is ready to go. And yeah, go figure. The brake lights in the back, they are also on. even though I have no brakes right now. But that's going to be the next thing we tackle. And well, I'll show you the wiring underneath the hood. And there's what the wiring looks like in there now. See, there's that loom down there. Actually, it's not really wire loom. It's sort of a split connector too. And these are all plug-in connectors. And I made up all the tags, so everything will show up on the schematic the way it's supposed to, all that. Everything works fine. Even the high and low beams work. But like I said, for some reason the dimmer switch decided not to work on the high beams. It works on the low beams. But anyway, but all the rest of the wiring going to all the other, everything else in the whole thing works fine. So I don't think we'll have much of a problem there. But couldn't use the old metal caps in there. They were just sort of in the way, and it was too easy for them to short out and all that. So we went this way. Then let's see. Oh, I'm going to show you something else. How we had to get to the dimmer switch underneath the wiring. Okay, that's where we had to make that gap there, so you can go ahead and get to the wiring for the. Attach this in there to hold it out of the way. I'm going to put it all back together anyway. But yeah, that cover goes in there, and these bolts are a little on the rusty side, so I had to use WD-40 on them. Once you get them started, it's fine. But the big one down below, this guy here, it's right there in the middle, and I used my impact on it, and I slipped, went forward, and banged my head. That's why you see a scab on my forehead there. I banged it at least once. I think one time on the steering wheel too, when I was coating the ends of the wiring to go into that switch. So, yeah, that's the only thing. So, to get yourself more room, if you ever work on these things, the best thing to do is just remove this and then put it back in there. And get those small bolts in there first. Don't worry about that big one. Once they line up, that'll be lined up and you won't have a problem. So anyway, that's what's been going on here. Next thing I do is get 5 gallons of gas, dump it in the tank, and make sure none of my fittings are leaking. And also I have brake lines coming. The brakes, I have to tackle those next. So things are moving along. So we'll talk to you guys later.